should I tell Sam?
Let me take one.
Oh, that's
Avi,
okay.
what should I tell Sam?
Tell him that we can't do it.
It's one page, it's one page.
Mine is two.
Okay.
I'm not. I don't know that we're gonna. Right, I'm not sure that we're gonna. I can't manage the Zoom, so Sam.
We're having an issue with the Zoom again.
So we have this working.
Oh, he says he's doing it for. Okay, he says he's doing it from the computer.
So I shouldn't go
Yeah.
for, I shouldn't look for Benji's thing?
Yeah, do it regularly.
Yeah, do it regular way. He's gonna do it.
Okay, 1 second.
It's just one page.
I don't know what's saying. Funny stuff over here.
He's,
How do you usually get into it? I usually just, I don't know. Here comes the picture. I'll go back to the original. Benji, that's Benji's thing.
Recording in progress.
Somewhere.
That's probably Sam.
Oh, there it
That was probably Sam. And then just divide it two again. Just,
Oh, these are.
yeah, exactly.
Okay. Oh, good. Same. Should be okay. All right. Sorry about that. Can you hear? Can you see? It's working. Hello.
could be muted.
Please wait now. It's saying. Send me back to the beginning. 1 second.
Recording in progress.
Okay.
Let's do the same thing again.
Okay. Jeff, do you hear me?
Yeah, we're good. You hear me?
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, there was some technical stuff. Okay. So first, I want to thank the Chaver at Meridian, and also one of the Chaverim for sponsoring Ligla Nishmas Esther Tova Bas Eliezer Ben Yamin HaKohen and the Sham Shav and Aliyah. All of us shall have simchas, nachas, and bracha in this Hashem. Okay. So Rabbeinu Sha'ag B'Kol Gadol, and it's a popular song. Menachem is screaming at the top of his lungs. And it took a while, but the world is paying attention, is listening to Rabbi Nachman. A lot of the world is starting to tune into Rabbi Nachman, and we have the schus. We also have a Baruch Hashem, Rabbi Yirmi Ginsburg's even Meridian Shiur Chabura in the shul. And we have the schus to be learning Meshivas Nefesh. I haven't had the last few weeks before Yontav, I think. And we're starting a new Torah. So Simon Chav Dalet and Meshivas Nefesh with the parish of Meshiv Nafshi on page Ayin Gimel. But I wanted the Chaver to see Rabbi Nachman's words inside. Again, it's a tiny little Torah, but there's a lot here. It's Reish Mem Tes. Torah Reish Mem Tes. I don't know if you can send a picture. I don't know how it works. We can send if everybody wants the picture of it, or they can look at their own. Because we're going to be learning. It's only a few lines, the Torah, but then we're going to be learning from a little bit the parish of Oita Or, a little bit of a parish on this tiny little Torah. That will help us to understand what we're going to be learning in Meshivas Nefesh. So let's look inside the page that you have. Again, it's Rabbi Nachman's Torah is on top, with the parish of Oita Or. Came out a few years ago. There are many Perushim on Likud Amran. This is an exceptionally clear one, a good one. I mean, they're all good, but this is exceptionally clear, and it's very, very straightforward and simple. Ikka Hagvur Shabalev. Let's first read Rabbi Nachman's words. Ikka Hagvur Bahalev. Now, questions that he asked in Pirkei Avos is Ezehu Gibor. What does it mean, a Gibor? So, one can define Gevurah as strength. And a Gibor, usually a Gibor is associated with somebody of physical strength. Gevurah can mean also courage, right? So Rabbi Nachman begins by saying, Ikar HaGevurah B'Halev. The Ikar HaGevurah is B'Halev, is in the heart. He doesn't say in the mind. He's not talking about the body. Ikar HaGevurah B'Halev. Kimisha libo chazak ve'enu misyar mishum adam mishum davar, because a person whose heart is strong, he's not afraid of anybody or anything. Yachol asa is gevuros neuros. Such a person can accomplish unbelievable things. Gevuros neuros, unbelievable things he could do. And even in war, he could accomplish tremendous conquests. Lichbaish hamulchamas. He could be very successful at war if he has gevurah ba'alev. Aydei chozek v'toikev libo she'en misyare, because of this strength and the tokef, the conviction, the strength of his heart, that he's not afraid, and because of that, what's l'toikev hamulchama? He runs into the heat of the battle. He runs into the battle. And that is the meaning of a gibor. The ikka of the gibor is not a person of physical strength, but a person whose kaivesh es yitzro, meaning he's able to conquer his own yitzro. He's a person of great emotional strength and conviction. Zebechin is Gevurah Shimshon, and this is the Gevurah of Shimshon. So we were raised. Mostly we were raised either with comic books or pictures in our minds or movies of Samson, Samson and Delilah, and we imagine Shimshon to be like some 6'8", like starting linebacker, on a football team, like this big powerful warrior. Rabbi Nachman says the beginning is Gevurah Shimshon. The Gevurah of Shimshon. Shnema Bo, it says, "V'tochel ruach Hashem lefa'amo." It doesn't say that he was working out. It says, "V'tochel ruach Hashem." The ruach of Hashem began to beat inside of him. Lefa'amo, like a bell, like a ring inside of him. V'machne Dan ben Saru ben Eshtoel. Now the place is in that place where he was in the territory of Dan, Shevet Dan, in that place between Sarah and Eshtoel. That in those places, in that place, the Ruach of Hashem came upon him. And he was enclosed in this Gevurah of Ruach Hashem. The meaning of this is that he had this tremendous chozek, this chizik and tkifus belev in his heart, gevurah belev. And with this gevurah belev, not muscles, but with this gevurah belev, he was able to do these astonishing things that we see in Tanakh. He was able to do. So let's just go through the commentary and some of the notes very quickly. That's the whole time. Ikar gevurah shel hagibor hu balev, imishli b'chazek ben mesiyah mishum adam mishum dav yochel asas gevurah neros lichbash mechamas vayidei chayzik v'toikev libo she'en misyarei v'rotz l'toikev hamulchama l'chein yochel gav l'netzeach. He explains, the commentary explains, he's able to be victorious. Av she'en gibor gadol b'koich hamayisi b'yad raglav, even though he might not be particularly strong. Physically, he's not strong necessarily b'yad raglav, with his arms, with his legs. Mr. Baal Tanya talks about this in Chavav, that when a person is besimcha, And a person has, as a result of him being besimcha, he has this hischaskus, this tkifus, the lave, like it says, Vayisa Yaakov Raglav. So when the heart is in that place of simcha, and the heart is confident and strong, so then the heart is able to carry the legs. The body is infused with a certain type of strength. And there the Baal Tanya talks about, as I'm sure many of you remember, that two people are wrestling, and one of them is depressed and depleted, and the other one is besimcha, and the other one is confident and optimistic. So even though he might be physically much weaker than the other guy, he's going to win. He'll win because he has gvur b'leiv. You could have a person who's physically very strong, but he's lacking in gvuras halev. He's afraid. That's what we see the Torah made it tonight. When it comes to going out for a Jew to go out to fight, that if a person's a yori v'rach levov, if a person is afraid, not only is he not required to go, we don't want him there. That's what the Torah tells us, and the Rambam explains this. It's going to mess everybody up. You get one of these guys, a yori v'rach levov. Okay, whatever the reason is, no one has a time against the guy, but that's his matzav. The matzav is that he's not only is he not going to help us, he's going to hurt us. He's not going to do anything, any ma'aseh gvur. It's very easy to defeat him. It's very easy to defeat him. Look at footnote 2. Even a person who is physically very strong, meaning he has very powerful limbs. The guy is very strong. He's able to lift up, heavy packages and stuff. Just because somebody is strong does not mean that he's going to win the war. Doesn't mean he's going to win, or the fight. He's not going to necessarily win. If he's afraid, he's not going to win. But because of his fear, he's not going to go into the battle. He's not going to get into the battle. They're going to kill him. Therefore, the ikar gvur is belev, is in the heart. Hainu mashu oz. The person has oz, he has courage. Ve'enu mafachid v'nichnas lekishrei hamilchama po b'li shum yira. Without yira, zui hagvur sheichol lahavi l'maisa. That is the gvur. The gvur belev is something that will lead to maisa. Gvur l'maisa. To see something happen, for him to win. And Kain's at footnote 3, Kain's at Bir Rabbeinu Gam L'Kaman. Rabbi Nachman speaks about this also later on. Continue in the second chelik. When a person has chalishus alev, when the heart is weak, he's lacking in confidence, courage, and so on. Neiflim chodem alav. Then he's afraid of all kinds of things. Ki a gibur ein lo shum pachad. A real gibur is somebody that's not afraid. Ein lo shum pachad. V'yikad gvur b'leiv. Rabbi Nachman says this over there also. Da'inu misha libo chazik einu mesyar mishum davar v'ratz l'toich kishem Muhammad goes into the war. U'mesgaber de chazik v'remitz libo. He's able to be victorious because of this chizik that he has in his ometz halev. V'chein leipach. Rak levav hem mispachadim. People whose hearts are soft-hearted, meaning people who are more fearful and so on, than mispachadim. Zeshakos of Ish, as I mentioned before, Ish hayore v'rach halevav. Pirush Rashi, hayore k'aidei rach levav aidei zeh hu misyare. That because his heart is more delicate by nature, he's going to be more afraid, and he's not going to be successful. It's that simple. He's not going to succeed. Back inside the where it's just in the middle. V'zeh hainu. The same way that in the physical war or fight, the ikar gvur is in the heart. It's the same thing when it comes to avodas Hashem. The ikar gvur that a person needs when it comes to fighting against the Yetzer Hara is belev. Belev. V'zeu b'chinas ma'im ha'chazal, ezu giba karbish yisitzo. Ki bevadai, she'en l'gvur ha'gashmis b'yodav b'raglav v'chadoyma shaychus l'kvishas ha'yetzer. The fact that a person might be 6'8" and has been training and working out, and he's got big muscles, that doesn't help him in the least to fight against his Yetzer Hara. But the Mishnah says, ezu giba. The Mishnah says, ezu giba ha'karbish yisitzo. I mean, it defines the gibor as somebody that's not necessarily physically strong at all. Because when it comes to defeating the Yetzer Hara, that's not what helps, that you're physically strong. The simple pshat in the Mishnah, a gibor is talking about gvur belev. He's not afraid to go into war with his Yetzer Hara. He's not afraid to fight against the Yetzer Hara and to go against what the Yetzer Hara wants. And that's why when we look in Tanakh, for the person who is the Gibor in Tanakh, the biggest Gibor in Tanakh is Shimshon. Shoysa Gvur de Kedusha. Lostam Gvur Seivar. And we see that by Shimshon, when the Tanakh defines his Gvur, it's not that he was some sort of a superhero. Sheinema v'tochel ruach Hashem lefamu v'machne don ben soru ben ashtol. Shahoyu sham shnei harim. So Chazal say that there were two mountains. V'tochlan Shimshon zebezeh. And Shimshon lifted up these mountains and he crushed them. He was grinding these two mountains. So what does that mean? Hainu sheba'osin hamakarmis solcha olav ruach Hashem. That in that place, the ruach of Hashem came upon him, filled him. V'lovash gevura. So he explains, "Lachen hiski lefamo shehem pi'imos halev." It's the pulse. That means the lefamo means the heart beating. His heart began to beat with ruach Hashem. Lefamo is the pulse, a beat. His heart began to beat with the ruach of Hashem. And once he had this gvur belev, then he was able lemaisa to do amazing things. When he had the gvur belev, if he would not have had that ruach Hashem that was beating inside of him, he wouldn't have been able to do anything he did. He could have been easily defeated, and therefore we see that when the ruach Hashem left him, that he wasn't able to do anything. It wasn't because of his hair. He wasn't able to. He was an Nazir, and certainly that through the Nazirs there was a gilui of that koach that he had, but the koach was a koach from Hashem. And because of whatever happened, what was going on in his life, once the Ruach Hashem left him, so then they were able to tie him up and they were able to do what they wanted with him. And once, as the Navi describes, that once he cried out to Hashem, he davened, and the Ruach Hashem returned to him, then he was able to bring the house down. But that was because of the Ruach Hashem, not because of Gvur. Gvur is Gvur belev. Yeah, so let's just look at footnote 5. So again, Rabbeinu Shag, Rabbi Nachman screams out in many places that there's not to be messiahish, not to give up. Because when a person is messiahish, it means that he's lacking in Gvur belev. He's given up. He has no hope. He's depressed. He's discouraged. Then, Nostim Memshola Gedoli Yitzhar. Those emotions of depression, of yeush, of despair, those give over a Memshola Gedoli Yitzhar. That those empower the Yitzhar. Then the Yitzhar is going to destroy this person. Because if this person is Messiahish, and he feels that he can no longer fight against his Yetzirah, he's afraid that his Yetzirah is going to destroy him and he's not able to fight against it, he's given up, then he's already lost. He's already lost. He's already finished. Even before he goes into the ring with the Yetzirah, even before there's one punch, he's already finished. The same way that if a guy goes into the ring and he's the opponent sees that he's Messiahish, that this guy's Messiahish, he just doesn't even take a punch. It's finished. The whole match is over. Ikagvur is a Kavish Yitzro. And how is one Kavish Yitzro? Not with physical strength, but with Gvur Shabbalay. So perish. Ukshlo Rabbeinu Mawa Kesher Ben Hamakremes Sarah Veshtal. Because the Navi is telling us that when did Shimshon discover that he had this superhuman strength? In this place between Sarah and Eshtal. So, what's the difference where this was? Now, if you're really a gibor, if Shimshon was a powerful warrior, then he's the same powerful guy whether he's in these places or he's in Bensonhurst or something. It doesn't make a difference. What does it mean? That he became strong where? He became strong in this location between Sarah and Eshtal. That's when he became. If you're a strong person, it means that you have this midah of you have this strength wherever you are. Unless your ability to fight and to be strong depends upon some other source of strength, which of course here it does. It's Ruach Hashem. Kimishu gibur beivarv hayunaises gerasa l'chal makom. A person who's a gibur, physically a gibur, that goes with him wherever he goes. And it doesn't depend upon how long your hair is. You have a haircut, you don't have a haircut. If you're etzem a gibur, that has nothing to do with Nazirus. The Nazirus was the Indian of his Kedusha. And because as long as Shimshon was living in the world of Kedusha, again, and here's Madrega, we don't understand he was a Tzaddik Yisaro, but as long as Shimshon was in that place of Kedusha, in the world of Nazirus and Kedusha, so then it wouldn't make a difference if she gave him a haircut. The problem was that Shimshon was no longer Shimshon. And once he was no longer Shimshon, so then it became a question of external source of strength. The Plishtim could only understand that there was some kind of a gimmick over here. And what's the gimmick? The gimmick is his hair. But it's not the hair, it's the Nazirus. It's the Kedusha Sanazir. It's the Kedusha of Nazirus. But it's not because his hair was cut that he lost the Kedusha of Nazirus. He lost it because of what he was doing in his life at that time. And the whole Maisa with Delilah. But not because of a haircut. And if he would have been Nazir Hashem and behaving like a Nazir Hashem in his Madrega, and something would have happened that that his hair some hair got removed, that wouldn't have done anything to him. But that's not what it was. The Ruach of Hashem left him, and therefore the Nazirus of Shimshon was no longer a Nazirus of the Kedushas Hashem. It was just a hair. So the Navi says this happened Ben Sorav Eshtal. When did the beating when did Shimshon have this strength? In this place. Kimishu Gibor Bevar Hayunaisis Gross L'Chamakim. Alpi al pi mashi beer. Ki ikar hagvura, next page. To the other side. Ki ikar hagvura, he believe. The ikar gvura of Shimshon is believe. Well, gvura Shimshon l'haisa gvura sevar. And the gvura of Shimshon was not physical strength. Elish Yishar al Ruach Hashem. It's because the Ruach of Hashem was upon him. The same way that Moshe Rabbeinu, how's Moshe Rabbeinu able to hold the luchas? No human being could carry those luchas, according to how much they weighed. It wasn't possible for a human being, and therefore we see that by what happened when it was the Chet Egel that he wasn't able to hold them anymore. That wasn't Moshe Rabbeinu's shortcoming. That was because of what happened. But Moshe Rabbeinu at that point, because he saw that Am Yisrael was in that bad place, so he wasn't able to carry the luchas anymore. It's not because Moshe Rabbeinu was the strongest person in the world, physically strong, but because Am Yisrael had failed, so that at that point the Ruach of Hashem that was dependent upon where Am Yisrael was holding left Moshe Rabbeinu that way, and he wasn't able to hold the luchas. He couldn't hold the luchas. And that's what the Navi says. This is not regular strength. He received this strength in that location because he was a Nazir of Hashem. He was a tzaddik, and he received this gift of Ruach Hashem that comes with the Gevurah Shabalev that he had as a tzaddik. Wherever Shimshon was doing all that stuff, when he was with the animals and killing the plishtim, when he was burning the field and killing the plishtim, it always says about Titzlach Elav Ruach Hashem. It's not Shimshon as a strong person. It's about Titzlach Elav Ruach Hashem, and he had this Ruach Hashem, which is a Ruach of Gevurah, and that's how he was able, because he was Zarchit to that because it was Kedusha, and Nazirus and it's Kedusha. And it was told to his parents even before he came to the world that this is as long as he will have kedushas on his ears. But it's not just because he had long hair. It's vatitzlach elav ruach Hashem. Ki gvros oisach ruach Hashem shebelibo shoy mekablu b'chol pam michodesh. And that's how the Targum of Vilkan 8. That's how the Targum Yonason says the pasuk. Ushrias ruach gevur min kodem Hashem. That's a kafuse. That there descended upon him a ruach of Hashem, a gevura, a ruach gevura min kodem Hashem, a ruach of gevura from Hashem. The pasuk says ruach Hashem. The Targum explains, and he says ruach gevura min kodem Hashem. This ruach gevura came from Hashem. And that gave him the tekifus, the strength and the power. The Ruach of Hashem gave him the strength. The Gemara says, he brings the Gemara in Saita, that's the whole story there with Shimshon is in Saita. Binyan Lefamo, the Gemara Darshan in a different Lefamo, Shekivyachal, Haisa Shechin, Mekaskesses, Lefana Kizug, Upama. And it brings the Gemara that says like the word Lefamo was like a bell. And it began to ring in him, the Ruach of Hashem. Say it, it's the same thing. It's not the secret. So that's the Torah. That's the Torah from Rabbi Nachman inside the Meshivas Nefesh. Let's go now back to our Sefer, the Meshivas Nefesh. Okay, let's just begin with the Peirush because we just saw the Torah. Except that in here he does not bring the Indian of Shimshon. That's the only thing that's missing is the Indian of Shimshon. So, in the Peirush, the Siman Zem Mesgali Yisod Gadol. In this Siman, Rabbi Nachman is revealing to us a very big Yisod. She'ika Gvuras Hagibur b'nitzach and Hamilchama Kolom Machmes Gvuras Atzmai. That the Iker Gevurah that the Gibor has to be victorious in war and battle is not because of his actual strength. Elamachmas azus libo, because of the courage of the heart. Kizo ikar ba'avodas Hashem Yisborach. The ikar in avodas Hashem Yisborach, and that's where Rabbi Nachman comes back to this so often, the danger of yeush, the danger of atzvus, of sadness. Kizo ikar ba'avodas Hashem Yisborach, sheyeh la'adam chayzak halev, that a person should have chayzak halev, ba'azus de kedusha. L'natzech b'melchemes hayetzer. I've mentioned many times, even in front of the whole tzibah, that it's an interesting thing how this building got how it was built. So there was a meeting, another meeting about trying to make something happen, to put together, to get a building up, and one of the least physically imposing people in the whole kehillah, little, very skinny, one of the Vowed Tzaddikim, was not Misyahish. And that's how we have a building. Everybody else was talking about meeting again, and he just said, "This is just ridiculous. Let's go. Let's go. We're going to go do this." And then he led the troops, and it happened. It was not because this was a person that you would say you would not want him on the front line like in Gaza. If you would just look at him, because physically he's not an imposing figure of a person. Emotionally and intellectually, he's filled with Azaz the Kedusha. Filled with Azaz Kedusha. And he was able to with that optimism and with that confidence, he was able to defeat the Yetzer Hara that says that it's not possible, we can't do it, there aren't enough people, there's not. Who's going to do it? How are we going to do it? Who can do it? Where are we going to get this? All of that, all the other stuff that was no. And he said, Na'aseh v'nasliach. And it's a gvura b'lev. It's just the type of a person. There's a gvura, and those are the people, time after time, those are the people that change the world, that make things happen. Not the strongest people, not even the brightest people. The people that have this quality, this koach, a gvur b'lev, this azus halev. Is our ikir b'avodas Hashem Yisborach. Sheyeh la'adam chayzak halev v'azus de kedusha. Azus de kedusha. L'natzeach b'melchemes hayetzer. Now we're talking about the war against the Yetzer Hara. They have this chayzak halev v'azus de kedusha, confidence and that internal strength and simcha and so on. L'natzeach b'melchemes hayetzer. Lamoid neged hatayvus haboim limshachas halev, to be able to fight against all of the desires that are trying to pull the heart away. And this person is a lasik b'torah v'avay. This person goes into his learning, he goes into his davening with azas, with strength, with koiches. His davening is with azas, his learning is with azas. His milchama with the Yetzer Hara is with azas, with strength, with confidence. And if he gets knocked down, he picks himself up, he goes right back in. That's how you win. The Fizer, according to this, Yuchal ha'adam lahavin madua gam achrei shalomad b'shomad archi yischazkas v'sayrus. Rav Kivak, the Mechaber here of the parish, comes back to this very often. We already saw this a few times. Answering the question of why is it that you see that there are people that you try to give them chizuk and more chizuk and more chizuk and more chizuk, and then you see this in yourself, that you learn svarim, and the svarim are filled with chizuk, and you hear tzaddikim and so on, lots of chizuk, and nevertheless, this person constantly needs chizuk, and it's not working. Constantly needs chizuk. Sheilazos harimatrida rabim reishis darkim limsos chaskus. This question is something which bothers people, especially those that are beginning to try to be mischazik. Like I try to mischazik in davening. I try to mischazik in my learning. I try to mischazik in my milchama with the Yetzer Hara. And he reads all kinds of things, and hears Meshivas Nefesh, and he's learning all kinds of good things, and he's hearing all kinds of good chizuk and drushes and so on. V'chalzos, he still falls. Whereas the chizuk is not working. In this simon, Rabbi Nachman answers this question. And the answer is she'ikar gvur belief. The ikar gvur is in the heart. V'chol darchei es chazgus mizgala rak esher odem chazik libo. It's not just hearing the right words or reading the right sefer. It's where the person takes these words of chizik to heart. And as a result of that, the heart becomes empowered. And the person gains that inner confidence and strength to move forward. It's not going to work just because he read the sefer. How come I fell again? How come the chizik didn't work for me? Or a person's upset about something, he's depressed about something, and somebody tried to tell him some chizik, and it lasted for like 15 minutes, it doesn't help. Because he didn't absorb it into the heart. And the heart is still depressed or frightened. It didn't work. Now, the person can say, no, so other Rabbi, could you be mechazik my heart? But at the end of the day, that's something you have to work on yourself. So I can tell you, or anybody that's trying to be mechazik, any other Jew can tell you, or you can tell your kid, or whatever it is, a friend. You can say all kinds of good dibur. You pull out a fantastic piece from Kedushas Levi, or you pull out from from something that a person likes more from Rav Dessler, some gewaldige chizik from Rav Dessler, from any tzaddik. You pull out something very, very good, and you give it out to this person, and he gets then he's beaten up. 15 minutes later, he's done. So you say, you need to give me gvur b'lev. But the Torah says, gvur b'lev is a certain midah, and it's something you have to work on. So when it comes, let's say, to hashpah, if you're not going to think about what that person said to you, and you're not going to daven for it, think about it, like we're learning in the Chassidus on Erev Shabbos, you're not going to believe in that. You don't really believe in what the person is telling you. It doesn't work. And even if you believe in it, you don't really have a tshuka, a longing to come to this madrega. And even if you think you have a tshuka, you don't daven that you should be stronger. And then you're wondering, why did you lose? I heard such a good shiur, I heard such a good shmuz, I read something so fantastic in Meshivas Nefesh, and an hour later I'm back online looking at something disgusting. How did this happen to me? Must be that there's something wrong with the Meshivas Nefesh or the shiur, no. You thought that's going to work for you. The words are going to work for you. No, you have to daven for that. It means his boidus. It means davening and wanting it, and thinking about it, and believing that you can do that. Because the gvur is belief. Chol darchei yischazkus mezgala rakasher adam is chazik libo ritzono lias uz chazak l'shmoy l'sayr. It's only when the person be'emes. If a person comes into the shiur, he comes into the shmuz, and he wants very badly to be mischazik. Or he davens, please, Rebbeinu Shalom, help me that when I go to the shiur, it should be mechazik me. I should have more gvur b'libi. Please, and you daven for gvur saleh. And you're misboining in this Indian of gvur saleh to be mechazik it, to work on it, to daven for it a lot. Then a person can already develop that a stronger heart. But if he thinks he's going to sit back, it's just going to happen to him. That's not how it works. So how do you get this? How do you get this ruach? How do you get this ruach chayim of milchama, of fighting? You see that if a soldier doesn't believe what he's fighting for, he's finished. So how is it possible that in Eretz Yisrael we've been able, Baruch Hashem, all these years to, even though there are millions and millions and millions of people, soldiers, the whole world is trying to destroy us, because there's a Ruach HaGvur that Am Yisrael has. And that's why all of these things that go on with the fighting in Eretz Yisrael, all this, the government and all the stuff, the things going on with the Charedim and the non-Charedim, all this stuff. What it ends up doing is taking away the Gvur B'Lev. That's what it ends up doing. And then God forbid more Jews get killed. That's what it does. It just saps us of the Gvur B'Lev. So you can have the most powerful army. So the army in Eretz Yisrael is unbelievably strong and good. But then how did it happen on Shmini Atzeres? What happened? So the teretz is, well, they were getting too relaxed with the intelligence. There's a whole article now in the Commentary magazine that came out now in May, about a very long article, a lot of research that was done on what happened in Eretz Yisrael. There are going to be books written about it. What happened in Shmini Atzeres? And what's interesting? There were these girls that their job of these girls was that their main job of these girls was to be on the lookout for anything by the Yishmael, to see anything with their texts, and they're all different. These were girls that they were trained. That this was their malacha, and it's saying that these girls were telling the people in the government and the army for months, something bad is going to happen. Something bad is going to happen. And already, years ago. So the explanation there is a certain overconfidence. There's a certain overconfidence. That's true. That's true, because Gaiva is not trusting in Hashem, and there's an overconfidence in yourself, of course. That's a big part of it. But also there's this fighting that's going on between Jews, and it's happening now again. It takes away all of the koiches of Am Yisrael. It's on these things, on people fighting with each other. What's going on with the yeshiva, with the guys with the army, and all this stuff, and the government, and with the judicial reform, and all that. When I was next to our apartment it's very, very close to where they have the demonstrations. Every Motzei Shabbos. 15 minutes after Havdalah. Because Rabbeinu Tam, so it's a little bit late. But 15 minutes after Havdalah, they're starting already. With the boom and the boom and the boom and screaming and yelling. It's disheartening. Disheartening means it takes away the Gvur B'Lev. That doesn't mean everybody has to agree. People can talk. But once Jews are fighting with each other, and Chalila, then can I go to the army? Why should I sign up for the army? I'm going to leave Eretz Yisrael. It takes away the whole Gvur B'Lev. Together with those who are lacking in Emunah Hashem and think that it's Kaichi, Vaitzim Yadi, that it's which a lot of that was going on by the border. They were trusting all the electronic stuff, all the computers, and they thought that the Arabs, that the Hamas was not going to. Hamas was trying to make themselves more respectable and more. All the mistakes that were made were unbelievable. But the Ikka, the Pnimius is, it was a terribly. You remember that time before the Shemini Atzeres, when Yom Kippur, there were Jews that went and they were fighting with other Jews on Yom Kippur. It was a whole terrible thing that happened in Tel Aviv. On the Mechitz. Terrible. So there was, Am Yisrael was disheartened. It's disheartening. It's terrible. And when people are disheartened, you see your own brothers that are tearing down signs of hostages, or tearing down with the soldiers, or yelling at soldiers. It takes away the whole Gvur B'Lev. It's not a matter. We were never able to defeat all those millions and tens of millions of Arabs because we're physically stronger than them. So everything else, because the Jews are so smart. Turns out the Hamas is not so stupid either. So the Jews are stronger, and the Jews have better intelligence, and the Jews are more, and the Jews have this, and the Jews have that. What the Jews have that nobody in the world has is Gvur B'Lev. That's our secret weapon. That's how we made it till here. Emunah, Bitachon, Gvur B'Lev. So how all of a sudden these little scrawny people, they became Shimshon Agiba, and the world can't get over it. That's what they hate us. They become crazy. How did this little scrawny country become Shimshon Agiba? So now we're colonializing. We're colonists. We're the ones that they look at us as being like having a problem with white superiority or something like that. That's all anti-Semites. No, the Gevur Shabalev Am Yisrael is something which our enemies mamish can't understand. They don't know what that means. They know what Shimshon Agiba. Shimshon Agiba was probably a person of color. He probably wasn't so white. He probably looked much more Sephardic than Ashkenazish. So, from where did Shimshon Hagiba take the Gevur that he had? He took it from Ruach Hashem. Ruach Hashem. Not that I'm worthless, I'm nobody, I'm nothing, I can't raise myself up, I can't get an education, I can't get out of my neighborhood, I can't do anything with my life. Am Yisrael was able to go wherever we were in the world, no matter what we went through, with this Ruach Hashem. And that's a Ruach of Gevur, Gevur Shabalev. And when a person has that, then you give him one word of chizuk, like the Mashiach, when it came to going out the war, and the Kohen Mashiach will come and say a couple of words, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, and we heard Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, we're in. Didn't have to be long drushes and speeches, just said what? Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, and the Schus Kriya Shema, all the guys say Kriya Shema, Shema Yisrael, let's go. And we win. But if you don't have that Kriya Shema, that's Rabbeinu Sha'ag, we're called God. That's Rabbeinu Sha'ag. The word Sha'ag means he roared. He was screaming. Rabbeinu Sha'ag called God. Ein shum yesh v'olam klal. Because when there's yesh, then the tiniest little Yetzirah can finish you off. A little spot. It doesn't have to be that you're dropped off like in Midtown Manhattan, it could be in your neighborhood, it could be in your house, it could be with your phone. It could be some little Yetzirah that comes along and you're done. Because you don't have Gerush Belay. Therefore, you don't have what it takes to be Kovish the Yetzirah. I will continue, Mr. Shah.